Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. In this game we'll see how Bobby uses the black pieces with amazing skill against Emil Nikolic, which actually just reminds me of this guy using a black pan. So let me just bring it up quickly. So Bobby's got the black pieces and he's using it very skillfully. So we'll see that in the game today. So anyway, we got Emil starting off with c4, the English. We get g6 from Bobby, the great snake variation, preparing to put your bishop on the long diagonal. Knight c3, bishop g7, g3. So yeah, Emil also preparing to put his bishop on the long diagonal. We get e5 from Bobby, bishop g2, and then d6. So just consolidating the little pawn chain, and then we get e3. So yeah, preparing to push d4 at some stage just to attack the center. We get knight f6. Emil also develops his knight. We get castles and castles, and then c6 from Bobby. So we see this very often in the King's Indian, just to stop the forward squares of the knight. We then get d4 from Emil. Bobby just goes rook to e8, rook to b1 from Emil. So yeah, essentially just getting off this long diagonal. We then get e4 from Bobby, closing things off. b4 from Emil, playing on the other side of the board. We get bishop to f5. So see this very often, very similar to the King's Indian, where you overprotect your pawn in the center. We then get h3. So here preparing g4 to kick away the bishop, but Bobby stops that immediately with h5. So controlling the g4 square. We then get a knight jumping into f4. Bobby developing his knight, and then a4 from Emil. Expanding here on the queen side. We get a knight to f8. So we can see the knight is making its way to g5, it seems. So we then get c5 from Emil. Bobby closes things with d5, and you can see this nice pawn chain. The position is close, so also indicating in which direction Bobby is going to attack, following the direction of the pawn chain, and white should be attacking on this side of the board. So in the game we get b5, knight going in, bishop to d2, and then we get the knight going in. So there's some pressure on the h-pawn. We get rook to b2, so supporting the second rank. Queen to d7, so 3 attackers and 2 defenders on the pawn. So Emil defends, and then we get bishop to h6. Yes, a lot of action happening on the king side. We then get a5 from Emil, so expanding on the queen side, and we get this absolutely crazy move, ladies and gentlemen. Bishop to g4, sacrificing a full bishop. But if you think about this clearly, if you get takes, and then we get this beautiful outpost for the knight. So that's the whole idea. In the game we get takes and takes, so a lot of weak squares around white's king. We then get rook to h1 and knight jumping into f3 with check. Only one move to take. So here we can see Bobby taking. So that was the plan all along. The king needs to be very careful, as there could be back rank mates coming his way. In the game we get king going to g1, but this is a blunder. The engine actually just wanted the knight coming out of the way, because this actually gives Bobby a free move by taking the bishop. And here white also needs to be very, very careful, because if you take, for instance, with the g-pawn, then you just busted, because it's mate in 3. The queen is coming in, and this is just lost. So going back, so he takes with the e-pawn, so that's the right thing to do. But I mean, you can see he's already in -5, so I mean, this is just bad for white. So in the game we get king to g7, so just making space for the rooks to come in, f5, and rook to h8. So interesting stuff coming. So in the game we get bishop to h6 check, giving back some material, and in the game we get takes, and takes, and then queen to d2 check. But here Bobby just simply pushes g5, so taking away that check. So in the game we get takes, and Bobby doesn't recapture, but instead goes in for the kill. Knight to d1, so trying to route some pieces towards the king. Queen to h3, so threatening mate on g2. Knight to e3, so covering g2. And in the game we got king to g6, forced mate in 3. And Emil resigned in this position because what can you do? The rook is coming in and you're getting mated on the back rank.